The Rachel Hollis podcast is proudly sponsored by Amica Insurance. As Amica says, empathy is our best policy. That's why they'll go above and beyond to tailor your insurance coverage to best fit your needs. Whether you're on the road, at home, or traveling along life's journey, their friendly and knowledgeable representatives will work with you to ensure that you have the right coverage in place. Amica will provide you with peace of mind. Go to amica.com to get a quote today. DirecTV is a better way to watch whatever you want to watch. We all know the frustration and confusion that comes from endlessly scrolling, trying to find your favorite shows. DirecTV brings together your live TV and apps into one home screen, helping you avoid the hassle of plugging in passwords again and again or wasting time searching for what to watch across platforms. With DirecTV, you spend more time watching and less time searching for your show. Sign up for DirecTV today at directtv.com. What you experience in the week of your period is based on how you took care of yourself in the 3 weeks prior. If you're having a really hard period, if you're having cramps, if you're having a heavy flow, if you're having a hard week and you don't have any regular reason, like you don't have PCOS, you don't have anything that makes that happen, if just all of a sudden, quote, out of the blue, you're having a really hard period, it's not out of the blue. It's based on what happened the prior 3 weeks. Hey guys, it's Rach. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And I have a favor, which sounds kind of harsh if we just met, but I'm assuming that most of you have been a part of this community for a hot minute. And so I gotta ask, are you subscribed to the podcast? Subscribing to the podcast you listen to regularly is one of the best things that you can do for hosts like me. It helps to support the show and the staff that works on it. It ensures that you never miss an episode when we drop a new one. And here's the cool thing about subscribing. If you do it and then you hate this show, just unsubscribe. It's one click away. In the meantime, if you're listening, we would so appreciate it if you would just tap that button and make it official. Hi guys, it's Rach. Welcome to another episode of the podcast and a conversation about hormones. More specifically, a conversation about perimenopause, which we haven't had in a hot minute. Over the last few years, I have done so many episodes on this topic, and I've interviewed a ton of experts around both perimenopause and menopause. But it's been several months since I've done one, and we have a bunch of new listeners. And I feel like this is my PSA. I feel like this is my public service announcement to talk about what perimenopause is, how it affects my life, how it affected my life in the past, and going into the future, just in case you find yourself experiencing some of the symptoms, but you don't know why. Before we even get into the whole story, let's just talk about what those symptoms are. If you're a woman of a certain age, let's call it late 30s, okay? Late 30s. So symptoms could be irregular periods, like really light periods, really heavy periods, having your period be delayed or come early, mood swings. This was a massive one for me, which I'll get into in a minute, but I was having wild mood swings. My anxiety was increasing. I had really bad brain fog. So I couldn't motivate myself, which is not it's so counterintuitive to who I am as a person. I wake up every day really excited and energized. And I went through several years where I just could not motivate myself to do anything. I felt really tired all the time. If you're experiencing fluctuations in your weight, like maybe you're gaining weight or you're not able to lose weight as easily, or belly fat or bloating, those are really common side effects of perimenopause. Man, it can be everything: joint pain, sleep disruption, night sweat, heart palpitations. I mean, it's kind of like if you've ever been pregnant before and you're like, is this symptom because I'm pregnant? And then you look it up in What to Expect If You're Expecting, and it's like, yep. Like, no matter what you look up in that book, you're like, is my runny nose a symptom of pregnancy? And they're like, uh-huh. And then you're like, oh, is my fingernails itch? Is that a symptom of, and they're like, yep, sure is. It absolutely is. I feel like perimenopause is the same way, but the headline for me and for you, if you're listening to this conversation, is like you have an intuitive knowing that something isn't right. And today's conversation is for you. If you feel like something isn't right, let's discuss and explore whether these could be symptoms of perimenopause. And if you already are in perimenopause, then hopefully today's conversation makes you feel less alone. And I'm going to share some resources, some of the experts I've had on the show, as well as just kind of my own journey with this and what has really helped me. And that's what we're going to do today. Let's talk about our uterus, y'all. Let's begin at the beginning, which was, I'm going to guess I was 37 or 38. And forgive me for 4 minutes if you've already heard this story, but let me tell it to the people who haven't heard it before. So late 30s, and a couple of major things were happening in my life. I thought it was the stress of those things. I didn't realize my hormones were unbalanced. Or maybe the stress of those things caused my hormones to be unbalanced. Potato, potato. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Who even knows? All I know is when I was 37 or 38, I'm not going to do the math, one of those numbers, it was 2020. So hello, pandemic. And I was going through a really awful divorce. So major stress from a bunch of different directions. And if you're listening to this and maybe you're not even old enough to experience perimenopause, but you're just kind of curious about hormones, this is the piece of advice I want you to really lock into your mind. Stress is the most dangerous thing in any of our lives. I was actually going to say stress is hugely impactful for your hormones, but that is not enough of a statement about how important it is to be mindful of your stress, to not hold your stress in your body, to make sure you're transmuting that. So whether that's through therapy, whether that's through energy work, whether that's through prayer, whether that's through physically moving your body to work that through, please do not take stress lightly, because it is a huge deal and it compounds and it will get worse as we get older. But if you're experiencing hormone fluctuations, stress is almost always the key ingredient and why your hormones are out of whack. I was experiencing a bunch of stress and didn't know that what was happening was hormone related, because my biggest symptom was mood swings. Just, I felt like a crazy person. And I could find a bunch of reasons for why. Like I would experience massive anxiety and then I would be fine. And then an hour later, I would be filled with rage and then I would be fine. And then I would be crying and then I would be fine. But I was like, well, I'm going through a divorce. This is a really hard time. I'm experiencing grief and pain and anger and all the stuff. So it really didn't occur to me that something else might be at play, except that it just didn't go away. It didn't go away. And it was happening even when there was nothing to set it off. That's also, I think, a really good indicator if it's a hormone-based mood that you're inside of, is that nothing is causing you to be angry. Nothing is causing you to be depressed. Nothing is causing you to be sad. Nothing is causing you to feel anxious. One moment you're fine, the next moment you're not. Something is wrong inside your body. And I think, I don't have a doctor here to back me up, but I think over the next decade, as we dig more and more into this topic and it becomes more and more popular to talk about women's hormones, I think that we're going to discover that a lot of things that are called mental health related issues in women are actually hormone imbalance. So if you are experiencing these kinds of mood swings, please get your blood work done. That's actually going to be my overarching piece of advice. If you just want the advice of this episode and not have to listen to the whole thing, here it is. Have your labs done. Have your blood work done. Find a doctor that specializes in sex hormones. So that's progesterone, estrogen, like who can look at what is going on in your body. Find a doctor who specializes in that and have your labs done. And I'll add a little nugget to this, which is a question I got on an episode of Ask Rach last year. This woman called in and she said, "What should I do? Rachel, you're always telling us that we should have our blood work done. I went to my doctor because I was feeling a little off and I asked to have blood work done. And he told me I was too young to worry about what's happening with my hormones." By the way, she was in her early 30s. I mean, where do we even start with this one? You have to advocate for yourself when it comes to medicine, when it comes to doctors, if at all possible. I think you know what I'm going to say. You probably want to aim at a doctor who is also a woman, especially if you're going to a man and he is telling you that you don't need to worry about it. Get your bloods done. I'll get off my soapbox, I promise. But it's the way that we can see what is going on inside our bodies. I'm going to add a little note here, which is right now in my life, I am having the weirdest couple of weeks because I don't know if you've ever gone through something like this. I have not. I know 4 different people from 4 different parts of my life that have been diagnosed with cancer in the last 2 weeks. And in every instance, they were fine, and then all of a sudden got very sick. But in every instance, those markers would have been there. And it is so devastating to find out that someone you love, or if it's you yourself, are experiencing something that had you caught it earlier would have given you more power, would have given you more agency, would have given you more ability to take it on. We're not always going to be able to tell every single thing, but at the very least, having your blood work done once a year and just checking everything, checking all your markers, making sure everything's good, not just on the hormone side, but like, is anything elevated? Is anything, is there anything that I need to look at? It is a luxury. It is a absolute luxury to be able to go have blood work done. It is. I am not saying it's not. But if you have the ability to do it, you need to have it checked at the very least once a year. I had Dr. Taz, I've had her on the show several times, and she says if you can afford it, you should have it done once a quarter, which feels like a lot to me. But at the very least, like, let's just know what's going on inside of us. Let's know the truth. Let's know the data. Because I don't know about y'all, especially when it came to my mood swings, I was so hard on myself because I couldn't control the way I was feeling. And then I would get mad at myself, and then that would make me spiral more. And then I was reaching for really bad coping mechanisms. I'd be like, well, if I just have a vodka soda, then I'll calm myself down and I won't be so angry. And It was just a swirl of things getting worse and worse. That's my headline in all of this conversation is you can guess at what's going on in your body, or you can have data that tells you exactly what's up. So if you can afford it, please have your blood work done. I think you guys know this, but in case you don't, my happy place is on the beach. Actually, that's not enough. My happy place is on the beach with an iced coffee in my hand. What a vibe. There are a lot of beaches out there, but there's only one people call the beach. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, is made up of 14 coastal communities and 60 miles of sunny beaches. Together, they create a place that makes you feel like you belong. Shine and dine in a foodie haven with oceanfront patios, fresh seafood, low country classics, and southern favorites. Plus, my favorite, you can listen to live music any day of the year, outside at laid-back beach bars, at world-renowned theaters, or right on the boardwalk. You belong at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Plan your trip to the beach at visitmyrtlebeach.com. Look, everyone knows that toilet paper is not created equal. Not all rolls are the same. Some are too soft. Some, can we say, sort of crumble, if you know what I'm saying. Then other toilet paper is so strong that it can actually hurt. And let's not even talk about the toilet paper that is so thin, it doesn't get the job done. Angel Soft is soft and strong and always affordable. Come on, life is too short. There's too much going on. I don't want to have to overthink this. So pick up a pack of Angel Soft in the toilet paper aisle of your nearest retailer. That's Angel Soft, soft and strong. Simple. "2020, I'm experiencing all of this stuff, and to be totally honest, I thought I was slowly developing really serious mental illness. I have a lot of mental illness in my family, and I thought, oh, I'm getting older, maybe it's going to show up now." I was scared. I was really scared that that's what was happening. And so I went to see Dr. Amen, who's a brain doctor, and had a bunch of labs done and had a bunch of CT scans, like all the things to look at my brain so that I could understand if there were elements there that were contributing to the way I was feeling. And in doing that, I had to have a bunch of blood work and I had to fill out a bunch of paperwork. And Dr. Amen called me himself and he was like, "Hey, I think you have something called estrogen dominance." And I'd never heard that term before. And he's like, "Google it." Like, I was on the phone with him. He was like, "Google it." And I Googled it on the phone and I started bawling because I read all of the symptoms of estrogen dominance, which was everything I just described to you guys. I was so grateful that I had like a path to walk. If you don't know why you're acting a certain way, you just know it's not an example of you. If you don't know why you're acting a certain way, you don't know how to help yourself. And that's really scary. Now I had at least a path to head down. I could do research, I could read books, I could see doctors that specialized in the exact thing I was going through. And it was really, really helpful for me. Now, the thing I have learned, obviously, y'all, I'm not a doctor, but your girl has done so much research on perimenopause and what helps. I feel like I've got at least enough information to help you start on your own journey. The reason the blood work is so important is because if you have estrogen dominance like I have, that's going to show up for you in one way. If you have progesterone dominance, basically whatever piece of the pie is like missing for you, it's going to affect you in different ways. So based on whatever particular style of hormone fluctuation you're experiencing, you will experience different symptoms. Like I said, I have interviewed my own naturopath doctor on the show twice. I've interviewed Dr. Taz twice. I've interviewed Dr. Mindy Pelz. Like, I've brought on so many incredible doctors around this subject. And I'm going to make sure that producer Jack links to those podcast episodes in the show notes and kind of what the episode is about. So if you want to take a deep dive, you can go there. My favorite book on the subject, if you want to take a deeper dive in terms of reading, is a book called Period Power by Maisie Hill. And we'll link to that as well in show notes, because I want you to go on your own journey of understanding what's going on in your body and how it's affecting you. But that's sort of the broad overview that brings me to the things that have really helped me. And I'm going to add a caveat. If it's possible to fix every symptom of perimenopause, I have yet to experience that. I feel so much freaking better than I did. Oh my God, so much better than I did 5 years ago, so much better than I did 2 years ago. Like, I keep getting better, but it has really involved some very drastic lifestyle changes, and I wouldn't trade them. But I'm just going to be super real with you today about what that has looked like, how it started, and then how it progressed and where it is now. Okay, so let's talk about what actually helps, or no, what actually helps me, because this is not what helps everybody, and perhaps your journey will look very differently. I am not taking any HRT, so that's hormone replacement therapy, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not against it. I'm not opposed to it, and if I get to a place where that is necessary, I absolutely will. The one the doctor has recommended to me is progesterone, but they didn't really have like enough rationale behind why that would be helpful. And I really, really, really try to not take any supplement or any medicine I don't absolutely need. Our bodies are very wise and they know how to function best. And I believe that the more we put into our body, the more we confuse it. So as much as possible, I try and not take anything that I don't need. But maybe someday I will need it and I will absolutely let you guys know. But for right now, I don't take any HRT. I started my perimenopause process after I found out I had estrogen dominance. I was connected with a naturopath doctor who specializes in female sex hormones, perimenopause, the whole thing. Her name is Dr. Julie Brush. I am obsessed with her, and I've had her on the podcast twice. Like I said, we'll link to those episodes, but she is amazing. She was so helpful to me, not just in perimenopause, but also a couple of years into my journey with trying to balance my hormones. I accidentally got pregnant, which, by the way, is absolutely a side effect of balancing your hormones. You get your hormones balanced and your body's like, woo, let's make a baby. I still don't know how I got pregnant, but I got pregnant and that was shocking because I already have 4 kids. I ended up, I don't like to say losing the baby because it makes it sound like you did something to lose it. But the second trimester, we went for an ultrasound and the baby did not have a heartbeat, which was so devastating. But I was already in the midst of some pretty serious hormone issues. And then I got pregnant and then I had a miscarriage. And you can just imagine the absolute nightmare of hormones that happened then. If you have ever experienced something like that, or maybe you find yourself in the midst of that now, I'm so freaking sorry because it's awful. And it's just worth saying any kind of hormone fluctuation that intense takes a while to help get better. It just, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I say this to y'all all the time, but I really do mean it. We have to be graceful with ourselves as we navigate these kind of health challenges, and hormone fluctuations are a massive health challenge. So just please be graceful with yourself. But all of that to say, Dr. Brush was so amazing because she helped me navigate not just the estrogen dominance, but also then hormone balance again after the miscarriage. So absolutely love her. But we started working together through the lens of I wanted to balance my hormones as naturally as possible. So that was all about diet. It was about supplements, natural supplements, and then seeds and oil cycling, which people have mixed opinions on seeds and oil cycling. Let me explain it and then I'll give you my 2 cents. It's an old school ideology that you have certain oils and certain seeds during the first 2 weeks of your period, and then you cycle to different seeds and oils during the second part of your period. The rationale is that the seeds and oils you have in the first half of your period, they have elements in them that are really supportive of what's going to happen in the next cycle. So this is actually a really important piece of information that everybody who has a uterus and gets a period needs to understand if you don't already. And I'm not attempting to talk down to you. I just did not have this information. Nobody taught me this. I learned this at 38 years old by reading books and going to the doctor. What you experience in the week of your period is based on how you took care of yourself in the 3 weeks prior. If you're having a really hard period, if you're having cramps, if you're having a heavy flow, if you're having a hard week and you don't have any regular reason, like you don't have PCOS, you don't have anything that makes that happen, if just all of a sudden, quote, out of the blue, you're having a really hard period, it's not out of the blue. It's based on what happened the prior 3 weeks. So if you've experienced a lot of stress in the last 3 weeks, if you haven't gotten enough sleep, if you've been eating like crap, if you were sick, like all of those things are going to play into the week of your period and affect it. I would just love for you to start asking yourself that question. Like if you're in the week of your period and you're not feeling good, ask yourself, okay, what just happened over the last 3 weeks? Just so you can identify what has contributed to it feeling like this. There's a revolutionary bra brand so confident it will change your life, they let you wear it risk-free for 60 days. Evelyn and Bobby is changing the game with their patented wireless replacement, designed to support, smooth, and flatter an inclusive range of bodies up to a K-cup. Wear it, wash it, put it to the test. If it's not the most comfortable, supportive, and flattering bra you've ever worn, you'll get your money back. No questions asked. Go to evelynbobby.com/Rachel for $20 off your first bra. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. For most of my life, I have learned and grown and gotten ideas from mentors. Mentors who don't know I exist. They are the mentors that I found in the pages of books, in podcasts just like this one that you're listening to. And even though they didn't know me, their advice was really helpful until I got to the place in my life where I could have a real life mentor in therapy. I could sit with someone each week and better understand myself and get tools that would help me make lasting change. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, and they serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. Plus, you can easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Rach to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Rach. Now, most of us are not taught to do that. Most of us were taught that having cramps is normal. We were taught that heavy periods were normal. We were taught that irregular periods were normal. Nausea was normal. PMS was normal. None of those things are normal. All of those things are a symptom that your hormones are imbalanced. Every single one. Can I just take a quick pause and ask y'all, if the information in this episode is helpful to you, will you share it? Will you share it with someone else that you think needs to hear it, whether that's your teenage daughter or your sister or your mama, or you put it on your social for your friends? Will you share this episode? And maybe you add your own, like do a quick video and tell people like, here's what I'm experiencing. Here's what it looks like for me, because I was not taught this. And there's so much more information out about it now, but there's still a lot of cultural taboo around periods, around our bodies, around talking about this stuff. There are millions and millions and millions of women who are suffering with symptoms in silence because they think that it's normal, and it's not normal. Consider sharing. So Dr. Brush and I approached it through natural means. We did the seeds and oil cycling. The seeds and oils are there to support the next part of your cycle. So whatever part of your cycle you're in, the seeds and oils you are taking are actually for the next part of your cycle, if that makes sense. There's some mixed opinions on this because like medical journals are like, well, there's not enough medical information to support the idea that having flax seeds is helping women's periods. And I'm like, yeah, bro, because no one is funding research on how to help women have their period in a way that is better, number one. Number two, seeds and oil cycling doesn't hurt at all. It's like flax, chia, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds. It's nothing that's going to hurt you. These are all really great natural foods to add to your diet as long as you're not allergic to them. And it's evening primrose oil or fish oil, both of which are great for you. Those things aren't going to hurt you. And therefore, I don't really care what the medical journals say. They're going to be something that's nutritionally valuable to us. They have great nutrients inside of them. They've got great fiber if you're having the seeds, et cetera, et cetera. And just the mindset that you are actively engaging in nutrition to support your cycle is an act of self-care, is an act of setting the intention every day to take care of yourself. Seeds and oil cycling isn't going to hurt you. Absolutely, I think you should do it. Dr. Brush originally got me doing seed cycling. She got me on Vitex, which I absolutely love. And let me tell you a story about Vitex real quick. So Vitex is chaste tree berry. You can look it up. You get it at grocery stores, Amazon, whatever. And it is a supplement that helps to support women's sex hormones. I started taking it at the beginning of this journey, loved it, so grateful for it, felt like this magical, supportive, amazing thing, supported my moods, felt to me like it really helped me to balance my moods. And I have been on Vitex since 2020. And about 6 months ago, I just told y'all this in another podcast episode, but perhaps not everyone heard that one. About 6 months ago, I was like, you know what? I don't really know that this Vitex is doing anything for me anymore. I can't feel anything. And like I said, I don't want to take supplements I don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and stop taking it. So I stopped taking it, didn't feel any difference. And then about a month ago, I started noticing that I was waking up in a really negative mood. Very, very unlike me. I love popping out of bed in the morning. So excited to have my coffee. I was waking up before my eyes were even open. I was like being super negative, so grouchy. I was already irritated. I was already frustrated. Like, I don't want to get out of bed and like have to make school lunches. And I would be like, sort of split into two minds, like the mind that was having all of these really negative thoughts, and then my rational mind, my higher self that was like, girl, what? What are you talking about? You are so blessed. Like, so I would talk myself around. I would pray. I would do some visualization, some meditation, and I could absolutely get myself in the right frame of mind to start my morning. But it was happening every day. And I just thought, well, this is funny. And I just like kind of kept using the tools that I have in my toolkit to get myself going, to change my mood. And then a few weeks ago, I was like, and this, by the way, is such a hack for anything that you're experiencing in your body, is to ask yourself, what changed? What changed? And guys, please do this also when you feel really good. If you feel really good, ask what changed. If you feel not as good, ask what changed. In this instance, I was like, something's off, something's wrong, something. So I was looking up, like, what am I feeling? And I was like, it's like irritation. I'm waking up irritated. I feel irritation in my body. And as soon as my brain comes into consciousness, I'm latching onto what I can feel irritated about, which is usually like school drop off and making lunches and the chaos of 4 kids getting out the door for school in the morning. So then I ask myself, what has changed? What is different? And I realize, oh my God, I stopped taking the Vitex. I wasn't feeling any difference. And this happens with medicine too, right? People are like, well, I feel really good, so I don't need it anymore. So I'll just stop taking it. And I did that. And I was like, oh, Rach, come on. Literally that morning I got up and I started taking it again. And within 4 days, I was like, there she is. It's like you forget what you are supposed to feel like until you feel better. Dr. Brush got me on the seeds and oil cycling. You're like, this is the longest freaking story ever. I know, sis. Just hang with me. Got me on the seeds and oil, got me on the Vitex, and then had me start looking at my nutrition. But to be totally honest, at that point, it was nothing compared to what it is today. But I will just tell you some things that will really help. But they are lifestyle changes if you're not already doing them. So things that help perimenopause are having a diet that is really strong in both protein and healthy fats, because that helps your blood sugar, which helps your hormones stay imbalanced. Leafy greens and high fiber are really important because it supports your gut health and detoxification. And just since I said detox, I want to add one thing here, which I should have started with. I'm annoyed that I didn't, but if you're still with me, here's something I'd like to add in. It's very important to get your period. I hate that that's a controversial opinion, and you don't have to agree with me. I have a girlfriend who hasn't gotten a period in like 15 years because she didn't like getting a period and her periods were heavy, and so she takes a pill so she never gets a period. And I am so freaked out for her. And I don't say that. She doesn't listen to my show, so I feel confident she's not going to hear me say this, but it makes me very nervous for her. You're supposed to get a period. Here's why. They have done studies on menstrual blood, and inside of menstrual blood, they have found heavy metals, they found microplastics, they found toxins that our body is naturally getting rid of every single month. Now, statistically, which gender lives longer than the other? Women, all day. And there's no reason that they can find for why women live longer than men. We have this one thing that is different, and that is that we get our period every single month. And I have to believe there is a correlation between our body detoxing in that way and something that men are not able to do. Your body is doing what it's supposed to do. And I know it is inconvenient and I know it is frustrating. And part of my perimenopause today is that I get crazy heavy periods that will prohibit me from living my life. Like literally the other day, I was trying to go to Indian Wells, which is this really fabulous tennis tournament. And 1 hour outside of LA, it's in Palm Springs, which is a couple hours away. An hour outside of LA, I bled through my clothes. And I was like, F you, uterus. We're going to work together on this one. I go to Target. I get a new outfit, get new underwear, get everything that I need, get back on the road. 1 hour later, it happens again. And at that point, I was like, okay, I can't buy another outfit. And I was in Palm Springs. I was like 20 minutes away from the tournament, and I turned around and went home. So I know that it's inconvenient, especially when all of these things are happening, but we are supposed to get a period. It is important. And I think that when we mess with a natural cycle in our body and we don't allow it to happen, I think that the consequences are potentially greater. But that is just the opinion of some chick on the internet. So take that with a grain of salt. Protein and healthy fats, leafy greens and fiber, and magnesium and omega-3s. That's for sleep, that's for mood, that's for inflammation in your body. I take magnesium every single night. I take omegas every single night. I'll tell you exactly what I take. In the morning, I take DHEA. I'm going to tell you my supplements, and you better talk to a doctor before you try these. Do not just hear me say stuff and then go do it. That's crazy. So I take DHEA in the morning because my cortisol was spiking at the wrong time. So I was waking up super tired. Thank you, Dr. Brush, queen of all. That was a change that I made about a year ago, and freaking A, what a game changer. So I take DHEA in the morning. I take my Vitex in the morning. Midday, I also take some biotin because your girl's trying to grow her hair out after having extensions for 10 years. I take iron if I am on my period or in the few days after my period because I'm naturally anemic and also I bleed a lot. So I need the iron to help me, not pass out. Then in the evening, I take magnesium every single night. It's going to help you poop, and it's also going to help you sleep. Both of those are awesome side effects of taking magnesium. Then I take my oils, whether that's my evening primrose oil or my fish oil, depending on what part of seed cycling I'm in. If I'm going to do a run, all of a sudden this became a supplement podcast. I'm sorry, but I just feel like for the 4 of you who are still here, you want the information because I would want the information. Before I do a run, I take vitamin B. That's something that comes up again and again in my blood work, that my B vitamins are low. And that typically is a great thing to get inside of dairy products, but dairy doesn't always agree with me. I get my B in, but only before a run because otherwise it makes me jittery and I feel like I'm going to explode into space. And during the winter months, if there's not a lot of sun, I will take vitamin D, which is a really good one for the ladies. I did take adaptogens for a very long time to deal with anxiety. I took holy basil leaf for a very long time, and I think it is amazing. But that is definitely a supplement that I grew out of. I got to a place in life about a year ago where I felt really good about all of the tools that I had to combat my anxiety. And I haven't taken holy basil since then, and it's really helped. I didn't realize how much it was affecting my creativity. I mean, it was like dampening the anxiety, but then it was also sort of dampening my ability to think big thoughts. But there were about 5 years where I don't think I could have survived without an adaptogen. So all the things, guys. Now, here is why I just ran you through all of that. Because that was where I started and it was super helpful, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough if I want to be in optimum mindset, mood, body, all of it. My diet has become way more thoughtful and my exercise has become way more thoughtful. And it has had to because I now have experienced what it's like to eat in a different way, to not drink as much, to do fasting for and with my cycle. All of those things have really been game changers for me in the last 18 months. What it looks like today is I love Dr. Mindy Pelz's book. I know I've told you about it a ton, called Fast Like a Girl. which is all about how you can do intermittent fasting based on the week of your cycle that you're in. So I highly recommend that one. And then I really don't drink a lot anymore. I mean, I've told you in the past, like I definitely drank as a coping mechanism to stress. And then after I understood how bad that was for me, I still drank like for fun, right? Go, I would get home from work, I'd be cooking dinner, I'd like have a vodka or I'd have a glass of red wine or whatever. And I really just don't do that a lot anymore. It's more of a special occasion, or on Saturdays, my husband and I we make a big dinner for our family. And so I do like to have a little something. Like I love sipping on red wine while we're making dinner, but I've cut my alcohol intake down to just so little. I think part of it is, I don't know, age. I'm 42, but I just feel so much better if I don't drink. And if I do have alcohol, I will have one drink and I'm like, what? Just like the next day I just wake up and I can feel the difference. Not hungover, but like I don't have energy. I don't feel like my brain's firing as fast as it should. All of these things happen and I hate the way I feel and it's just not worth it. I do intermittent fasting. I don't drink very much anymore. I added cardio back in. So for a very long time, I've tried every sort of workout exercise regime at this point, but I got into the like slow movement thing, the slow girl movement. Have you guys seen that stuff? It's basically like you're going to walk, you're going to do yoga, you're going to do Pilates, but none of it is intense, which was really great because if you do high intensity workouts, they can spike cortisol, and cortisol will give you belly fat that you can't get rid of. And it's actually bloating. It's not belly fat. So I tried that for a while and I liked it because it's just lovely to take long walks as your only form of exercise. But I have gone back to strength training and cardio. And two reasons for that. Number one, I take very seriously that, especially as women, if you are 40, I mean, if you're any age, but especially if you're 40 or older, listen to me. You have to be working out. You have to be doing strength training. I do not care what your body looks like. I don't care this is not about aesthetics. This is about us being as strong as we possibly can be into old age. It is so much harder for us as women to develop muscle in our body later in life. I'm not talking about bodybuilder muscle. I'm talking about like the muscle to stand up off the couch when I'm 80. We have to build it now because it's harder to build it the older we get and we lose it faster. So it is so stinking important. So I do strength training multiple times a week, and I do at least 30 minutes of cardio, which to me is, I go on runs. I do that 4 times a week, at least. I work out pretty consistently. Now, the good news is not drinking, intermittent fasting, really, really, really an absence of gluten because I try and just eat proteins and greens and veggies and fruits and whole foods. That's been my plan for a long time. All of that together means I look pretty good right now. I'm not going to lie. If you saw me, I feel like you'd be like, okay, Rach, welcome to the gun show, because my arms look amazing. But besides how I look, I feel a lot better. I think one of the frustrations of this age and maybe of the hormones is I don't feel like we can get away with as much, which sucks. You know, when you're 20, you can go out with your friends and maybe you have some drinks and like you eat all the desserts and whatever. And the next day you wake up and you don't feel very good, but like an hour later you're fine. Now I feel like the smallest change in my plan really throws me off. And I hate that happens, but it's true. And I've just learned to accept it because I want to feel good. And I think you do too. One more thought on our bodies and changing and like diet, exercise, and all the stuff is I would be remiss if I didn't talk about sex. I mean, if you have made it 49 minutes into our conversation, you're here for it. This is a safe space. And so I have to talk about sex because perimenopause absolutely affects libido, sex drive, how wet you get, how good it feels, how often you want it, all of those things. So if you're experiencing that, please know that it's so normal. Let's just talk about how I navigate that. I guess maybe it would be helpful to say, I'm imagining you listening to this. Maybe you've been married for a really long time. You've been with your partner forever, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm in perimenopause, but the reason I'm not as into him or the reason I'm not as into her is because I'm in perimenopause. I can tell you, my husband and I have been together for 4 years. He is so sexy. It's like sometimes painful. I just look at him. I'm like, oh my God, what? He's got a British accent. He's got beautiful curly hair. His body is insane. He's so hot. I can't even deal. And even I have, you know, a couple weeks out of him. I'm like, I love you. I'll give you a hug. Just not, I am not like, there's nothing. And I've talked to him about this. It's so wild. I'm like, I don't understand that my brain is like, this is the sexiest man on the planet. But my lower regions are like, hello, is this thing on? Are we in there, sis? What's going on? So how I deal with that is I just accept that that's the season of life that I'm in. I am manifesting for myself that at some point I'm going to pass through this season and then like turn into an adolescent boy energy. And then all of a sudden, if you're in menopause and you're like, girl, that doesn't happen, do not tell me. And definitely don't tell my husband. We don't want to know because I am manifesting for me that when I get to the other side of this, I'm going to just feel turned on all the time. I right now just accept that that is not what's in the cards for me. And here is the key. I have about 10 days in my cycle where it's on. Okay? If you know it, if you know, you know. I'm like, let's go. It's and really, and yes, again today, like I'm very interested in it. Now, an old school mentality would say, yeah, but you just had sex this morning or you just had sex yesterday. Like, he's good for a few days. I hate, by the way, that I am being this gender patriarchy, like, he's good. I hate that that is what my brain says, but we're being real right now. An old school way of thinking would be that, but now we got to make hay when the sun shines. We have got to make hay when the sun shines. So if my body is interested, I'm going to have all the sex during the days of my cycle when I feel like having sex. And that might only be like a week-long period. And then we're going to have to just hold hands and pray for the next few weeks until we get back here again. And that just is what it is. On average, we're going to make out as much as the average couple. It's just going to be during that week cycle. And that's where we're at, you know? If you find a magic cure, please let me know. But I feel really good about that. I feel really fine about that. I want to make sure that we're connecting in intimate ways. Intimacy is about a lot more than sex, but the amount of work it would take to get me to orgasm during a part of my cycle where I am just, the lights are off and no one's home. Both things are shut down. The amount of work it would take, girl, I'm too tired. We cannot. We would be here for 3 hours. I can't do it. So I'm just not as interested. And that's how I deal with it. But pay attention. I mean, I've said to y'all 1 bajillion times at this point, please track your cycle. please, please, please track your cycle. You don't even have to get an app. You can open a note on your phone and just write day 1. So if you don't know this, day 1 of your period is the first day that you bleed, like for real. Sometimes we have like a little spotting. Your uterus likes to, fire a warning shot to let you know something's on the way. That's not day 1. Day 1 is when you are bleeding for real. So just start a note on your phone. Day 1, are there any interesting symptoms? Day 2, day 3, day 4. I do this for every month, which is how I know if I'm having a day where I'm like, oh my God, I feel so sad today. I'm just so sad. I don't know why I feel so sad. I'm like, oh, let's go look on day 11 of last month. And let's go look on day 11 of the month before. This is just a note in my phone. And let's go look on day 11 the month before. And I have months and months and months of day 11 me saying, I feel sad and I don't know why. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what hormone is showing its head right now, but something is making me feel this way. It'll be gone tomorrow. Please track your cycle, especially if you'd like to have more sex and enjoy yourself and show up for your partner in a fun way. Because if you track your cycle, you're going to go, oh, wow, these are the days that I feel most turned on. Let them know. I mean, if you're single, great, you can take care of that yourself. But if you have a partner, let your partner know. You better believe my husband knows the days of my cycle where he is most likely to get lucky. Tell your partner, hey, hey girl, like this is what it's about. Let's set y'all up for success. Let's set yourself up. But like you have to know your body and you have to know what's going on. We're going to land this plane, this perimenopausal plane, with some headlines. Number 1, you're going to get your blood work done. You're going to find out what is going on in your body. Number 2, you are going to start doing your own research. You're going to go to the show notes. You're going to find the book. You're going to go listen to the experts talk about it in the podcast episodes. You can go read the blog. There's so much information on the blog. You're going to go read books. You're going to just arm yourself with info so you know what's up. You're going to start tracking your cycle so you know where you're at. And once you have the data of what's really going on in your body, the research and what makes sense to you, you can start creating a plan of action to do literally one adjustment. Adjust one thing in your life and see if you feel better. And when that thing makes you feel better, you're going to adjust something else and you're going to adjust something else. And I guess it's sort of a bummer to realize that we can't get away with as much with our bodies as we used to be able to. But I think we knew that, right? That's a part of aging. The older we get, we just don't have as much elasticity in kind of any area as we once did. We can be upset about that. We can like shake our fists at the sky, or we can accept that we have this beautiful, amazing body and we can learn to work with our cycle instead of against it. And we can find a way to thrive in the energy that we have. I hope this conversation was so helpful for you guys. Thank you for listening to me talk about my uterus, my sex hormones, and my sex life. I will be back tomorrow with more conversation. If you want to take a deeper dive on any of the things we talk about here on the podcast, go check out MsRachelHollis.com. That's MsRachelHollis.com. I've had a blog since 2008, so there are thousands of blog posts on anything your heart could imagine, including casserole recipes, because I started as a food blogger. But yeah, that's there if you want to go check it out. I will talk to you guys again later. But as always, I love you, and I'm rooting for you. The Rachel Hollis podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble.
This season, let your shoes do the talking. Designer Shoe Warehouse is packed with fresh styles that speak to your whole vibe without saying a word. From cool sneakers that look good with everything, to easy sandals you'll want to wear on repeat, DSW has you covered. Find a shoe for every you from the brands you love, like Birkenstock, Nike, Adidas, New Balance, and more. Head to your DSW store or visit dsw.com today.